Hello, this is a little quick overview of STUUI to get you started. So after you've installed the package, you'll find the editor folder, which contains a few editor classes to make things look nice. And then the important stuff for you is mostly in plugins, Narayana Games, STUUI. And you'll see that there's a pretty extensive README, so you should definitely read that if you haven't done so already. And also there's a little PDF, which contains mostly the same information like the README at the moment, but it's, it looks a little nicer than just a plain text file. What's most important, in my opinion, is to really check out the example. There's currently 6 examples here, which illustrate several different use cases. These are also documented in the README. If you have a look here, there's example 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And so that's what I'll start with right now. The first example here, don't save. This is kind of like the most common use case that you would have. You have a GUI and you have a few guidelines or style guidelines, like which background colors buttons should have and stuff like that. And you usually don't want to change that, but you want, for instance, if you want to say the buttons should have a different background color, you want to do that quite easily by just changing it in one place instead of changing it in many different places. So the way this works is we have this little simple GUI here with the 4 buttons with 2 different types. It's button cool and button worn. And then we got the sliders. And what makes this all work is this skin template component that you can easily add to any GUI component and also some other components. And what this does here, let me just show how this works when I add a new one, skin template. It's already there, skin template. Initially, this has pull from and collection. And for now, all we need is pull from. Basically, this allows you to pull the information from some other game object, which could also be a prefab, like it is in this case. We have this template here, and this is a button. And what we want to do then is, this is a cool button. So we want to pull the cool button into this field. And then we click refresh mappings, and it shows you it takes the button cool and puts it into button A cool. This is this one, and it takes the image component and the layout component, and this information is then transferred to the to this component. If we have a look at button cool, you see this also has a skin template object. This has no pull from and no collection assigned. And this is just used so that you can pull it in there, and then this keeps some, has some bookkeeping information to make this whole thing work much easier. And also this could have a collection. That's something that I'll talk a little bit in a few minutes, because this allows you to switch styles or skins or templates on the fly, even at runtime if you want to. So if we're back here, this new thing that I've just added here, also has a minimized view. This is helpful if you have several skin templates from, like, if you pull information from different places. This is also supported. Then this minimized view shows you where it's pulled from and which components, and this makes it easy to reorder these things and just have it a little less cluttered. And of course, you can also close this because that's usually not necessary. One thing that's very important to understand is immediate updates. I have this switched on for, I think, the first 2 examples, if I'm not mistaken. And what this does is that immediately, I'll remove that because I already have it in here. Immediately when you make a change here in button cool, what you'll see is that the change is immediately taken into account, even when I'm not in play mode, because these are all execute in edit mode. So this is really nice if you design a GUI and you want to tweak it and things like that. But obviously, since this updates in every update cycle, this could have severe performance impact. So unless you need it for your specific GUI needs, like if you want to change everything via this template, which would be possible during runtime, you would want to keep immediate updates. But usually that's, except for demo purposes, you would not use that. And the other one is apply children. This is important because the button, it has the button component here, and then it has this text component. Or if we take a little more interesting example, that would be the slider, for instance. What you see here is a complete deep structure. And the slider here in the template also has that deep structure, which you don't see here in the project because the project view only supports a single level on the prefabs. That's the reason why I have in this scene a deactivated instance of that prefab. And by having that, I can go into the slider and go all the way down to the, let's say, the handle area. This is this red thing here. And then I can change the color. And as you'll notice, this isn't immediately updated because, yeah, it's a prefab and I have to hit apply to make that change become visible. So that's basically the core feature of functionality that you have. And while this is very simple in a way, it is very, very powerful because you can do all kinds of really nice things for layouting. So let me go into the second example. This is a probably also quite common use case. So this is the one where you have a prefab and then you can have the style, kind of like a style sheet for all the different scenes and all the different GUI components. This second example is a different thing, and there I don't have, as you can see here, I don't have any prefabs or anything. I don't have anything else in the scene. And what I'm doing there is I have one object that drives a few other objects, like the panel here. When I change the color, you'll see that immediately all the colors are changed. Again, be a little cautious with this update. What's it called? Immediate updates. That's something that's, yeah, nice for working with it, but I wouldn't have it in a build. But sometimes you might still want to use that anyways. So basically, this is the reference. This is pull from and collection not assigned because that's not necessary there. And then the panel generic, this one, and the other panel generic links to this panel button's reference. And this is how that works. And yeah, as you've seen here, this button, refresh mappings, you can always click that to update that. It's also updated when the scene is loaded or when you started playing. But when you want to work with it without hitting play, that's usually quite useful to have that button. Another thing, you may have noticed this already, you can say show documentation. And this will show you for each field the API documentation and also the class documentation for everything. And this is supported for skin template, template collection, and collection selector. So that's also a very convenient way to get used to using STUUI. Yeah, this is basically the same thing here. Button A is a reference. Switch that off. This is pull from and collection not assigned. If I have the minimized view, you get this little message here. This skin template defines a style that can be used as pull from by other skin templates. And that's exactly what we're using here. This reference is reference and this as well. And when I try to change the color here, you'll see this won't work because it's driven by the other one. But when I change the color here, this immediately changes the color of all of them. So that's another fairly common use case. If you want to support different styles that you can switch also during runtime, one possibility you have is, well, actually the main possibility you have is using several of these templates, which are originally just copies of each other. So style A is a copy of template and style B is also a copy of template. So it has exactly the same structure of game objects with the attached components in here. And then these are tweaked. So in practice, what this looks like is this. I have this is the base template, and I can switch to style A, and it's different colors, and style B has different colors and also different fonts. So that's quite powerful. And the way this works is there's a few convenience approaches here. One is the template selector. As you can see here, that's one of these classes. I think that's actually, oops, wait a minute. Oh, that's the wrong name. Actually, this is now called collection selector. Well, maybe I'll still change that in the example to avoid the same confusion that I just had. Basically, what this allows you is to have a main collection, that's this template here, and then several others which you can then choose from. And this is this nice button, validate collection choice. And if you click that, it tells you validation successful. And if you have any, differences here in the naming, because this requires the names to be the same. This will show you like which components or which objects are in one template but not in the other. So this helps you keep things clean and work properly. And then one thing that you see here in the template collection is the display name that's used for the buttons here. And the current collection, that's the one that currently is none. So it uses those same, and you can pull the skin templates from these to update this if you need to. And when I change this, what you'll notice when I say style B, it assigns template style A, style A. It assigns the style A in here. So this is now assigned to this. And if I click on this one here, then it's that other one. So what I can do now, I can change all the settings, all the colors and everything in here, and I'll have different stylings that way. And I could also use different images, and yeah, there will be some cool examples in the future. But yeah, these are not there yet. But you can do all of these. You can assign different background images and different fonts and even different layouts. So that's quite versatile. Another thing that I want to show you, that's example 4. And what you see here is that you can also have different templates here. These are, in this case, all included in the scene, but you could also have them as prefabs as usual. It's just to illustrate that there's different possibilities. And I have a couple of color collections and font collections and alignment and layout. And as you can see here, I can easily switch those and also create different combinations that way. So I could have one thing for the layout and one thing for the alignment or whatever you can come up with. So it really is very flexible and adjusts itself to your needs. And I think that's it. I mean, this basically works the same way. You have the panel main, and then it has several skin templates, and then you have the title color, the title font, the title alignment. And if you then look here, maybe I'll switch off the minimized view, the title color, it just defines a simple color. This is this script here. Basically, currently there's image, text, and one more supported, image, text, and layout, layout element. And here you have a few more flexible component, which, well, that's just the base class, and flexible font data. This is really interesting. Let me just go into this one here, the title font. What you see here is a component which is like the usual text component, but for each property, you can decide whether this should be overridden or not. So I could have one flexible text with just the font and font style, and another one with the line spacing and rich text, and another one with the alignment. So this also, again, makes you very, very flexible. The simple localization, let's see how that works, illustrates that you can also use this for localization. So this is now in German, and I can switch it to English, have another image, have another text. I could also have other fonts or other layouts if I want to, and I can also play
using STUUI with the new Unity UI is pretty cool.
And I can also switch this to German.
STUUI mit dem neuen Unity UI verwenden ist ziemlich cool.
And there you have it. And this basically uses the templating the same way as the others, but in this case for localization. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them via the forum. The link should be in here, the STUUI on Unity forums. That directly links to the main entry in the Unity forums. And yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to post them there. And if you have a look at the README, there's a few really nice things coming up very soon in the roadmap. So yeah, this is going to be quite cool. And if you want anything that's not planned already, just let me know and I'll see if I can get that in there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll enjoy using STUUI as much as I enjoyed creating it. Bye.